The full story behind why Robbie Keane left Ferencvaros has now emerged, and it tells us a lot about the man who could be about to take the Celtic job. We've also got a transfer miss to talk about, one of the title heroes making a bold World Cup claim, a Celtic defender looking back on Brendan Rodgers, and a talented young Celtic starlet who has made a big decision about his future. A lot on today, let's get into it. But first, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content. The details behind Robbie Keane's departure from Ferencvaros have finally been made clear, and the picture painted by the club's sporting director gives Celtic supporters a much better understanding of the man currently in talks for the manager's job. Ferencvaros sporting director Thomas Hajnal sat down with Keane at the end of the season to review the campaign and discuss what came next. The conversation that followed made it obvious that the situation was not going to be resolved easily. Hajnal explained that Keane had raised concerns throughout the season about certain rules and structures at the club, feeling they made his job more difficult. When they sat down at the end of the year, Keane asked for time to think. 2 days later, he called and said his career was pushing him in a different direction. Hajnal told the Celtic Way, "We sat down to review the season, and of course the future was also discussed. At the end of the discussion, we already felt that the situation was completely open-ended. He had repeatedly expressed during the season that he did not agree with a certain set of rules and that he felt that this made his work more difficult. When we got up from the table, he asked for time to think, and then 2 days later he called me and said that he felt that, in terms of his career, it was not worth it for him to stay here under these circumstances. Of course, uncertainty also played a role in this, since even now it is not possible to know exactly what expectations and set of rules in the Hungarian league the clubs will work under next season. It is difficult to know for sure whether he would have stayed if we had won the league." What stands out here is the word that Hajnal used, career. Keane was thinking about his own future and made a deliberate decision to move on rather than being pushed out. He is a man who pushes for backing and clarity from the people above him, who will not just accept limitations without making his voice heard, and who ultimately chose his own path when the environment did not suit him. For Celtic supporters assessing whether he is the right man for the job, that tells you something important. He will demand things from the board. Whether the board are willing to give him those assurances will likely determine whether this appointment happens. Now for the main story, as Celtic have missed out on a midfielder they had been tracking for months, with Silas Anderson now set to join Sporting CP in a deal worth over £8.5 million. The 21-year-old Danish under-21 international had been on Celtic's radar for some time after an impressive stint with Swedish club Häcken. He scored 6 goals in 25 appearances across all competitions this season, and his ability to contribute from midfield in multiple positions made him an attractive option for clubs looking to add energy and creativity to their squads. According to Scandinavian outlet Tipsbladet, Häcken have agreed a deal with Sporting worth an initial £6.5 million, with a further £2 million in potential add-ons. Anderson is set to travel to Lisbon this weekend for his medical before signing a 5-year contract with the Portuguese champions. It is a reality check for Celtic in the transfer market. Sporting can offer immediate Champions League football, a strong development track record, and a pathway to the very highest level. When a club of that stature identifies a player, they are very hard to compete with. Celtic will have known this was a risk from the moment interest from Portugal emerged, but it also underlines the urgency around the manager appointment. Midfield recruitment has to be a priority this summer. Callum McGregor is the undisputed first choice, but depth and quality behind him is limited, and there are serious questions around the futures of both Arne Engels and Reo Hatate. Missing out on Anderson means Celtic need to move quickly to identify alternatives. The window will not wait. In other news, Maida has arrived at the World Cup in North America in brilliant form and has wasted no time in stating his ambitions for the tournament. Maida finished the Celtic season on fire, scoring 9 goals in his final 7 appearances as the double was completed. His late goal against Hearts helped secure the title. He scored with an audacious chip in the Scottish Cup final against Dunfermline, and his stunning overhead kick against Rangers in the build-up had already announced that he was playing some of the best football of his life. Now, with Japan in Monterrey preparing for their opening game against the Netherlands in Arlington, Texas, he has spoken about what this tournament means for him personally and what the squad genuinely believe they can achieve. He told the Herald, "We have received a brilliant welcome here, and I am very excited about the World Cup now, as everyone in Mexico seems to be too. I can already feel the World Cup atmosphere in Monterrey. Of course, the heat will be a challenge, but I like it. Our ultimate aim is to win the World Cup, and we believe we can get off to a winning start against the Netherlands. Nobody should dismiss that claim lightly. Japan go into this tournament with genuine belief, and Maida is in the kind of form that can carry a team through a major competition. There is also an extra dimension for Celtic fans to follow. Japan's group stage includes Tunisia, who have Celtic's Sebastian Tonekti in their squad, and Sweden, who have Benjamin Nygren. Celtic Park could be producing goals at this World Cup regardless of which flag you are watching. In other news, Austin Trusty has looked back on his time under Brendan Rodgers at Celtic and spoken openly about what the manager brought to the club and what he personally took from working under him. Rodgers left Celtic for the second time in October 2025 under difficult circumstances. Major shareholder Dermot Desmond released a statement describing the manager's public comments about transfers and backing as divisive and self-serving. The fallout was ugly and well documented. Rodgers has since moved to Al Qadsiya in Saudi Arabia alongside his assistant John Kennedy. But despite all of that, Trusty has chosen to focus on the positive impact Rodgers had on him during their time together. The American defender joined Celtic from Sheffield United in 2024 when Rodgers was in charge, and he clearly valued the experience more than the way things eventually ended. Speaking on the Mulgrew Pitch to Par podcast, Trusty said, "Obviously, the stuff happened at the beginning of the season. It is what it is. I learned a lot. He had good staff too. Just being introduced to the mentality of Celtic, really. The day-to-day, how you approach things, only a winning mentality. Coming in from the outside, the players really introduce you to it as well. They really tell you what you're going to walk into. Seeing how he ran the squad, if it was Kendo running the squad and the actual day-to-day, you learn a lot from just being in the mix. It is a generous assessment given how things ended. Lastly, Celtic look set to lose another talented young player from their academy, with 16-year-old defender Dara Jikiemi reportedly rejecting a new long-term contract offer and expected to leave the club this summer. Jikiemi is considered one of the standout prospects in Celtic's youth setup. He has captained Scotland at youth level and has attracted serious attention from England. Liverpool, Newcastle United and Nottingham Forest are all understood to be monitoring his situation, and according to the Daily Record, Celtic have been informed of his decision to turn down the new deal they put on the table. That's all the latest Celtic news for today. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and drop a comment below with your thoughts. I'll see you in the next one. Hail, hail.